The Rugby Report, Japan 2019 with Betfred. Hello and welcome to the Rugby Report, Japan 2019 with Betfred. Thank you so much for joining us once again. My name's Nick Heath down here in Fukuoka.
And I'm Tom May and I'm back in Osaka.
Yes, you certainly are. Great to be with you once again. We've got a bumper load of games once again to look forward to in this episode. We've also got 3 games to look back on. Tom, you're in Osaka, but after our last pod, we did have another couple of days to hang around in Kobe. I was enjoying a bit of Kobe beef. We were all enjoying the herb gardens, and you were clocking up some extra meters on your Fitbit. What was the score with all that?
Well, firstly, Kobe, what a place. That is the greatest place I've been to Japan yet. I've been to Tokyo, I've been over to Toyota, which isn't much to write home about. Osaka's pretty cool, but Kobe is different level. We went to Nunabiki Falls, didn't we? Now, we took about 6 minutes to get up in that lovely little cable car. I reckon it was about 2 hours 36 minutes to get down. I don't know which one of the 4 of us said go left, but that was the wrong decision.
Wrong turn. We ended up hiking our way down, which involved us going uphill quite a lot. Curiously.
Yeah. Oh my god. And
you
what was it?
For a little
30 degrees.
Fit 10k run that morning, and then by the time you reached the bottom and also been to the stadium and back, how far had you walked?
Nearly 31 kilometres, which is quite a lot when you've got inch-long pins. It was 30 degrees, wasn't it? It was stinking hot in Kobe.
It was.
But a great place. So good. I'm so lucky to be going back.
Herb gardens were good. Yeah, thanks very much.
Yeah,
herb gardens were great. Saw a couple of bees that sounded like they had outboard motors on the back. They were some fairly fierce beasts. Also managed to enjoy a bit of Kobe beef, which was fantastic.
How much you spend on that, mate?
Oh, just a few quid.
How much, bud?
150.
For about 100 grams, I bet.
130, I'll have you know. It was a small amount. It was incredibly tender. It was very nice, very flavourful. Amazing to do the proper experience.
And they rinsed
in a little high-end restaurant. Well, I've done it. I've had the experience. It's great. I'm probably still happier with a 25 quid ribeye smothered in béarnaise sauce, but that's just me. No expensive tastes, although 25 quid for a steak is still quite a lot. But yeah, Kobe beef, very good. Done it. It is amazing, but I wouldn't really need to have it again. So that's that. But yeah, totally with you. Really, really loving Kobe. Also popped into the fan zone. Saw everybody enjoying the atmosphere yesterday while they were watching Italy, Canada ahead of England, USA. So talking of the rugby, let's have a little mention of those games. We have to go back a little further. The game in Kamaishi, the stadium, of course, born out of the rescue efforts and recovery from the tsunami. It finished there incredibly. Fiji 27, Uruguay 30. Felipe Bacchese with a penalty on 75 minutes that just gave the Uruguayans the nose in front they needed, and they pulled the win across the line. Incredible stuff, wasn't it?
Everyone was backing Fiji to pull off the upset of the tournament against either Australia or Wales, and actually it's Uruguay. Their game was brilliant, really, wasn't it? Fiji were turning over ball, probably not where you most expect it. They weren't just tossing balls out of the offload and losing it there. They were losing it in contact. The Uruguayans really fighting hard to get the ball back. They couldn't hit a barn door with their boot, Fiji. That's a great win for the Uruguayans. And the best bit about it was the post-match interview, wasn't it, when the captain was crying?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. In tears, so much pride. Absolutely fantastic. Also saw old Hannibal, the cannibal himself, Luis Suarez, tweeting his congratulations to the Uruguayan, showing a bit of love for the oval ball game.
Such
a
good
nice
bloke.
To see. You got a comment about his teeth to make?
They look like a bag of smashed crabs, don't they? I mean, if you had that much money, you just go and buy some new teeth, mate. Everyone's doing it. Ben Foden's done it. Why can't you do it?
Yeah, his rugby went really well after he did that, didn't it? Moving on, in Fukuoka, Italy 48, Canada 7. Italy now sitting top of their pool with 10 points. It's not going to stay like that for very long, you imagine, because, their running is going to get slightly harder. But a decent job by them. Canadians not quite able to live with them. And then Conor O'Shea saying that his players are going to be given licence to go out on the sauce.
Yeah, he promised them. What did he say in his quote? He said, "I promised the guys a bit of an old school night out." That could be quite interesting, given how old Connor is. I don't know what it will involve. The boys will probably go longer than I will, but they need to release the energy. Where do they end up?
Well, they went to a place called the Happy Cocks. So I hope they were very, very happy. Went with a bit of friends and family there, and then went off into the night. So let's hope they really enjoyed that. So wins there for Uruguay, for Italy, and then
what about the Canadian, the Canadian coach Kingsley Jones?
Oh yeah, what about him?
Well, I mean, it was 48-7. They lost. His quote: "We came in with a game plan, and I felt the game plan worked."
What was that plan then? Lose by 41 points. Yep, you did that. Yeah, excellent. Then in Kobe, that was the game in the Dome. The roof was closed. My God, it was sweaty in there. 45 points to 7. England looking pretty good. An improvement on the performance that they put in against Tonga. I managed to catch up with some fans actually down at the Kobe port this morning. They just had a spot of brunch. They were coming out. There were a few Harlequins fans, I think. And, Tom, have a listen to this. Quite interesting to hear what they thought of that England performance.
I thought we did what we needed to do eventually, but we should have made a much better start and treated it as if it was a real game. I think we were just throwing the ball around and playing some rugby. What I thought we should do is get the points and get those 4 tries early doors, and then focus on practising for the French and the Argentinians.
Okay, so you still think that this England side needs to show a little bit more of what they can do in more clinical fashion?
Yeah, but the clinical, I like a good word. It's what they've been doing now is throwing the ball around, as I say, and I just felt they didn't look like the boys should look, but I do think that they will be in form for the French and the Argentinians, and I think I see us going through. I think they're going to turn it round.
Sterner tests to come. I mean, is there an awful lot to turn around? What was your name, sir?
Yeah, Steve.
Hi, Steve. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, very much like that. I think they did what they needed to do last night, and no more than that in that sense. And as Chris said, yeah, really, we needed to make sure we got the 5 points, and then you start playing, exciting, sort of exhilarating Quins type champagne rugby. But you get those 5 points in the bag first, and it took a long time for us to achieve that yesterday. So that slightly disappointing, but I think we're improving. We're certainly better than the Tonga game, so hopefully it'll get better yet as it goes on.
Okie doke. And the women with you as well. How did you find last night?
Totally enjoyable, apart from the heat.
It was pretty sweaty in there, wasn't it?
It was very, very hot.
Yeah.
So how the guys coped on the pitch when we were absolutely dripping in the stands, I don't know. But a great result, shall we say, rather than a great game.
Yeah, okay, so that's certainly the feeling. I mean, it was pretty wet, pretty sweaty in there. I mean, I wonder, there were quite a few handling errors from England as well, weren't they? Do you think the conditions played a part in that?
I'm sure they did. It had to, didn't it? I mean, we were sticky and everything was slipping out of our hands. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think they did very well.
So by my reckoning, there was just one of those guys and girls that thought England's performance was any good. Is this part of Eddie Jones and England's problem? Is that the fans have just got too high an expectation?
I don't know what that guy's point was. Certainly the woman, made a bit of sense, and I think she had a fair point. But saying that Eddie Jones's men need to approach the game like a real game, what did they approach it like a pretend game? And then
they've been chucking it around too much for his liking.
Yeah,
something like that.
And then they just needed to go and get 4 tries early. Oh, well, all right. We'll just tell Gary Gold's team to just turn around and close their eyes for 10 minutes, and we'll just run them in. And, sometimes as English fans, we're so blinkered and we're so sort of, I think at times over-expectant about what we're expecting from the team.
Maybe what you're expecting from opposition, who aren't going to just sit there and let it happen.
Look, they get very rare opportunities to play against the top teams in the world. This was one of those for the USA. They were never going to roll over lightly in that first, 15, 20 minutes. And it takes time to break teams down. And eventually it worked. And, you can't... what do people expect? 100% perfect performance every time that England play? It's not going to happen. Any time any team's going to play, there are going to be periods of the game where the other side is in the ascendancy.
Yeah, USA will be pretty disappointed. I know that Gary Gold wanted them to put in a credible performance, and it wasn't that by his own admission. So they've got to get themselves past that, park it, and start preparing for their next one. So yeah, England though 2 from 2 and bonus points as well. So they are on 10 points. So looking ahead, we've got a pretty tasty weekend ahead of us. Argentina, Tonga, Japan, Ireland, South Africa, Namibia, Georgia, Uruguay, Australia, Wales, and Scotland, Samoa on Monday. So let's just rattle through those then, Tom. Starting with Argentina. Tonga, that one is being played in Hanazono at 5:45 in the morning. Kick-off in the UK, if you so dare. They've only met once before in 2015. Tonga, of course, coming in off the back of that 35-3 loss. Argentina, 4 changes from the loss against France. Gus Creevy goes to the bench. Erda Pigetta making his first start since 2013. Tonga, they make 4 changes as well. Kalamafoni and Siale Piatau, their 10th Rugby World Cup matches. It has got a win for the Pumas written all over it, has it not?
It has, but they're on the back of 10 straight defeats, amazingly. I couldn't believe that stat when I read it.
Goodness, yeah.
You know, they finished 4th in 2015. What a fall from grace that's been for them. I think they'll have far too much for Tonga. I think in Osaka and in the Hanazono Stadium. Tonga, they've got fewer caps than any other nation in the Rugby World Cup, just 13 per player on average. They haven't got great kicking stats. They're down at 60%. You're not going to win many games if you can't kick your goals either. You'd expect more.
Research there, Tom. You're not doing commentary on it, are you?
Ding, you're correct. And I'm looking forward to it, actually. The Argentinians are certainly looking forward to it as well. I came back in before we recorded this from having some food down in Osaka in the middle of town, and they are absolutely steaming. They've been having God knows how many pints of Sapporo, and they're jumping in the river, and the Japanese have got no idea what's going on.
They've gone early.
They've gone full Manu on Osaka.
Brilliant. Okay, before we jump into Japan, Ireland, just a quick word. Of course, the Rugby Report is sponsored by Betfred. Another bumper couple of days coming up in Japan. Argentina and Tonga both searching for their first win. Can the host Japan be, as Rob Carney says, a bigger threat to Ireland than the Scots? It'll be damage limitation for Namibia as they come up against probably a rather irritated Springbok team, and the best is saved to last as someone's bagel has got to go between Australia and Wales. Check out Betfred throughout the tournament for special offers and double delight on selected matches. Whenever you bet, Betfred. 18s and over, begambleaware.org. Maximum stakes apply. When the fun stops, stop. So that Japan-Ireland game then taking place in Shizuoka, 8:15 UK kickoff. The two teams have met 7 times before, 7 wins to the Irish. The Japanese, they got 3 wins in 2015 and didn't get through to those quarterfinals. First time in history that's ever happened. They had that 30-10 win over Russia. They made 4 changes for their side. Michael Leach drops to the bench. Lapis Labuschagne is the skipper. The Irish, Keith Earls is in for his first appearance of the tournament. They make 4 changes as well. That's 4 changes for Argentina, Tonga, Japan and Ireland so far, by the way. And Farrell and Ringrose will be the midfield partnership. How do you see this one going, Tom? It's going to be an amazing atmosphere. I sort of feel like Japan are the Irish of Asia. They love a good time, love a party. I think they're going to have a lot of fun, but have they got a sniff of being on the right side of the final score?
I think every neutral wants to see Japan do well as well, don't they? I think
Probably,
the Irish, they've got strength in depth, or enough strength in depth to fiddle around with their team and probably still have enough in the tank to overcome the Japanese. I just can't wait to see the atmosphere in the Shizuoka Stadium. I think it's going to be amazing. They've really embraced this tournament, haven't they? It's such a good thing to have it in Japan and have it on Asian soil for the first time. I don't know whether it feels like it's almost breaking new ground while we're over here, I think. And certainly, they're doing themselves proud. And I know full well that from what the Japanese fans are expecting, that they're really looking to make a big statement in their own home tournament. Perhaps they haven't got their eyes on turning Ireland over. I imagine it's on the Scots.
Yeah, I would expect so, and we will come on to the Scots very shortly. The next game then, to conclude Saturday's affairs, City of Toyota Stadium, it'll be South Africa against Namibia, 10:45 UK time. South Africa, 13 changes. Schalk Brits is the captain at number 8. What about that?
Yeah, come out of retirement, don't even play in your right position, and you can captain the team from number 8. The most complicated thing about that is the directions around the city of Toyota Stadium. It is brutal trying to get around that thing.
Well, hopefully they'll be guided into the middle of the field and won't have to worry. But yeah, I absolutely love that. Namibia make 10 changes from the loss to Italy, but the Springboks are very heavily stick-on winners on that one in the All-African clash. Then into Sunday, the 6:15 UK time, it's Georgia against Uruguay. Uruguay having to cope with just a 4-day turnaround, making 2 changes from their win against Fiji. The Georgians make 12 changes. Jaba Brigvadze is captain for the first time. That game taking place in Kumagaya. I heard you incidentally on the World Feed Radio commentary, Tom. I wasn't quite sure who the player was. It might have been the Georgian fly half. Sounded like you were saying they were having a lads and dads day. That's what I just kept hearing. Every time I heard it, I was just saying, he's out on a lads and dads day.
I'm trying to have a little flick back through. You mean Abs and Dadsy?
That'll be it.
Teddo. Teddo. Yeah. Teddy Abs and Dadsy. Or was it Lobs and Idze? Not Gorgadze or Gorgodze?
Those rugby club barbecues, lads and dads day.
Oh, wow. Imagine trying to come up with those after a few beers. Woof.
Good grief, don't fancy that. But how do you see that one going? You think the Georgians are just beginning to hit their straps a bit more?
Well, I think so. They sat back on the ropes and just waited for Wales to chuck everything at them in that first 40 minutes in Toyota during the week. Sort of woke up a bit during the second half, brought on some replacements that made a difference. It's going to be a bit of an arm wrestle, though. You can see that one, everyone just pre-match pump, press-ups on the floor, this is all about who's going to be last man standing, I think, in that one.
Yeah, I mean, the Uruguayans are going to have some energy left in their, find some energy in their legs, given that there are just 2 changes and they played just 4 days ago with that win against Fiji. So
they will, but I wonder whether the adrenaline of having turned over the Fijians will do them some good. They'll just be buzzing on life at the moment.
For the first 60 minutes, maybe,
and then they'll collapse.
But yeah. We'll see. Then it is easily the biggest one of the weekend. If you're looking at just pure rugby, it is Australia against Wales. And, we can bring back Dai Young to give us his view on this particular clash.
Well, that's obviously the big one within that group, isn't it? I think Australia are probably cuffed and sputtered pretty much for the last couple of seasons, haven't been quite the force that we all know they can be. But when you look at the squad that they can put on the field, they could certainly cause anybody problems on their day. If things click with them, with the attacking threats that they've got, they could beat any team. And Wales obviously no different to that. But I think Wales are a well organised team, play together a lot. Know their strengths, and there's going to take they'll take a bit of breaking down. And I think at the end of the day, I think Wales will need to score more points. I think they've realised that that they'll need to score more points. They're not going to win poorly on defence, but their defence will be up there with the best of them as normal. So, I think it's going to take a good team to beat Wales. Australia need to play at their best, but if Australia play at their best, they can beat anybody. So I think that's a big game for that group, but I think it'll only determine who will come first and second in that group. It doesn't mean whoever wins that game will obviously get their hands on it at the end.
So Dai Young there, quite obviously explaining that the winner of this game won't go on to necessarily win the Rugby World Cup. So thanks for explaining how pool games work, Dai. But we really appreciate the big man coming on. Have a listen to this when we also spoke to Rhys Priestland.
Yeah, Australia is a funny one. Everyone sort of wrote them off a couple of months ago, and they've come back and absolutely smashed New Zealand. I know they got smashed the week after, but they got some fantastic players. And Cheika, I remember playing against him when he was with Leinster. He's a fierce competitor. I worked with a conditioner that worked underneath him, and everyone says they were quite similar, and he was just on it all the time, demanding the and he'll get the best out of the Australian players. So that's going to be a huge test, and especially now the Australians know that Wales have beaten them.
Do you believe that Wales can go all the way?
Yeah, they can do. Yeah, they can. Whether they will not, I'm not sure, but they can go all the way.
So, Tom May, I've calculated that is over 3 seconds, that pause at the end from Priestland. Not entirely convinced Wales are going all the way.
No, convincing is not a word you would use to describe his thoughts on the chances of Wales getting to the end of the tournament, was it?
Certainly not. I mean, it's worth us hearing the other side from the other camp, because of course Michael Cheika has selected David Pocock and Michael Hooper, but Saia Fainga'a, the former Wallabies hooker, was speaking to us, and he isn't so sure that's the best way to go about it in terms of having a player that can maybe do a bit of the carrying or do a bit more of the rest of it. Let's hear what Saia had to say.
I think you can only play one of them. You can only have so many pilferers on the ball. You can only have, you have to have a definitive back row where you go, this is you're a ball carrier, you're a grafterman. You've got to hit rocks, or you've got to ball play, and you've got to help out the second rowers. So for me, I think for Wales, you probably can only play one of them, because as well as they're both going, I think you can only have one of them on the field because they both do the same job. And Pocock, as well, he did play against Samoa. I don't think he's yet fit enough to play an 80 yet.
So, Tom, mate, can David Pocock play the full 80?
The guy's a machine. Of course he can. I think, wow. If you've got two players like that, Hooper and Pocock, Pooper, or as I prefer to call them, Hoopcock, you would think that they'd get into anyo's team.
Hold on, really. Hoopcock needs more time there.
Hoopcock sounds way better than Pooper.
Yeah. Well, apparently they've had enough of Pooper, so I wonder how they'll feel about Hoopcock.
Let's make it go viral. Let's try our best. Yeah. Oh, Hoopcock.
Adam Ashley Cooper playing his 18th Rugby World Cup match, leading the 2019 pile, and 4 of Australia's starters played in the bronze match against Wales. Pop quiz, Tom May. Who are those 4?
Well, Adam Ashley Cooper.
Yes, because I just mentioned him. Good.
Genia.
Will Genia, yeah.
One half of Hoopcock.
Are you going to put your
cockpit
to the mast? Yeah, Pocock. Good. 3 out of 3. This is impressive. Oh, and the man he called a child's toy in the last pod. Excellent. James O'Connor, yeah. For Wales, Alan Wynne-Jones, 130th appearance. He overtakes Gethin Jenkins. The starting 15 is unchanged from their game against Georgia. How do you see this one going, Mr. May?
There's a lot of people that think Wales now have the ability to just topple these Australians. I'm not convinced. I know I've had a chat with James Horwell, and he seems to think that all of the history that there is between these two teams, they've got the nudge on the Welsh. I think I seem to back him. I know the Welsh are looking strong.
Why is that? Why is he saying that?
Well, I just think over time, they've had enough. They've had enough opportunities to topple the Australians, haven't they? They just haven't managed to do it that much.
Is this related to his theory about having to score points, and him saying that Wales aren't a team that score that many points?
Well, that's his theory in that he believes that no team is going to work through this Rugby World Cup and get to the end by just strangling the life out of it. You have to try and play rugby, which would potentially rule one or two of the would-be contenders out of the race for the trophy. Now, I think Australia will definitely score points, and clearly Wales scored some tries against the Georgians, and 2 were direct off set piece. I don't think they're going to be able to do that against the Australians. I may be proved completely and utterly wrong, and many Welsh will hope
not for the first time.
Yeah, many Welsh will hope that to be the case. But I know that the Welsh team is very strong. I just can't see them getting past the Australians. Thomas Williams, I think he's pretty unlucky not to get the nod at 9. Probably the sparky nature of his play suits him better to come on from the bench. And Ross Moriarty, he'll be pretty pissed off not to be starting in the back row from the off anyway. So look, I think they're in a good place, the Welsh, and it's going to be a hell of a game to watch. I cannot wait to sit down on Sunday and just watch that.
Yeah, it is. It's an 8:45 in the morning kickoff in the UK. That match in Tokyo. It's a very nice 4:45 in the afternoon, evening in Japan. So you will be able to enjoy that over a nice late afternoon coffee. Then, of course, if you want to feel like your weekend has extended a few hours into your Monday morning, then make sure you're sneaking a look at the coverage, because 11:15 from Kobe is Scotland against Samoa, and if the Samoans could be up for that, could they cause more problems for Scotland and potentially help out Japan, that will obviously be eyeing up that scalp later in the tournament?
I don't think the Samoans have got enough. I think Scotland, they got burnt that bad.
Don't ruin the party, Tom. Don't ruin it, really. What? So you think the Scots are going to turn them over?
Look, I'm not going to Scots bash every time I come on the pod.
But I mean, given how poor Scotland were against Ireland, though,
that's the whole point, though. They got burnt that badly against the Irish. I don't see them being in the same, anywhere near the same space they were, in terms of performance against the Samoans. Samoa had their chance in 2015, they blew it. I don't think they'll topple the Scots when it comes to that match in Kobe on Monday.
Okay, well, there we are. That is your 6 games discussed and previewed in brief. Any other business from you?
Can't wait to get back to Kobe, mate.
Oh, yeah, rubbing it in because it was so nice. No, I did enjoy it. I was staying in a nice hotel there. That was very good. Enjoyed a few hot baths after we did a ridiculous hike yesterday.
Don't give it the old hot bath chat. Look, let's just break down exactly what they are. Where you been going?
We're going down to the sort of Onson's hot springs.
Right. You don't. It's not just a bath, bud. Well, let's just break down exactly.
I'm not
what
wearing
it
any
is.
clothes, but that's just very traditional and Japanese. It's been an absolute delight, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, no doubt.
So we will be back in a few days, probably I think around Tuesday, when we'll have a look back at everything that has taken place. The Rugby Report Japan 2019 is sponsored by Betfred. Tries and more tries for Ireland and Wales in their opening matches in Japan. Betfred are offering double delight on both teams in their opening games against Japan and Australia. So whether you think Jonathan Davis will touch down first or Andrew Conway can step his way to the line first, you'll get double the odds. If they score first, then score again. Whenever you bet, Betfred. 18 and over, be gambleaware.org. Full T's and C's apply. See betfred.com for more info. When the fun stops, stop. That is about it from us here on the Rugby Report. We would love to hear from you on Twitter at the Rugby Report _. Do get in touch and leave us those reviews on Apple Podcasts as well. If that's how you're listening, we would love to get your feedback and some comments as well to help us roar our way up the charts. Tell your friends as well if you're enjoying having a listen. That's about it. So it's a sayonara from me in Fukuoka.
And it's an au revoir from me in Osaka.
Oh, how lovely. We'll catch you next time.
This has been a Rugby Media production.